What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you on a Monday night post-Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Welcome to the show. We are coming at you live on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube page. Thanks so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us and talk about the weather. And we have a lot to talk about. We are tracking a cold front. It's not going to bring things dramatically down in the temperature department, but it will bring us an opportunity for some rain. So we are going to get into that as well. But the main focus of tonight's show, I've been advertising this for quite some time, and it's the end of hurricane season. It's all over. Yesterday was the last day. Today is the first day that we are out of hurricane season. It'd be nice. It is nice to put the kibosh on the season. Then we'll talk about those rain chances closer to the end of the show. So thank you again for taking some time to be here tonight as we break down the forecasts and as we break down all the stuff that we are going to get into over the next couple of minutes. So first and foremost, we are going to start with the actual forecast. This was put out by NOAA at the beginning of the season. I should say in May, a couple days before the season started. Their forecast wasn't all that terrible. Now, the range is big. The range is pretty wide here, but nonetheless, they forecast 13 to 19 storms. We had 13. Hurricane-wise, they forecast 6 to 10. We had 5. The major storms, they forecast 3 to 5. We had 4. The deal is 3 of those 4 major hurricanes were Category 5 storms. By the way, we're taking a live look tonight in Apopka, some of the mood light there. And then also below me, I thought it'd be fun to take a look at some snow. So that is a live look in Greencastle, Indiana, where they are getting a lot of heavy snow tonight. Big storm system moving across the northern tier of the country. So we can marvel at some of the snow from the relative warmth that we have here going on in Florida. Okay, so those were the actual storms. I want to show you the names. These are where we came. And I want to show you, we put together a map of the hot spots that we thought were going to be under the gun for landfall. We're going to take a look at that. We didn't forecast numbers here at News 6, but we did forecast where we thought that we would get some of the highest probability for landfalls out there. So there you see it. Week to start, Andrea, Barry. Chantal was an impactful tropical storm. Brought a lot of flooding to North Carolina, some disastrous flooding. So even as a tropical storm, that's why we never say it's only this, it's only that. Each storm has a different personality. Then Aaron came along. So tropical storm, tropical storm, tropical storm, tropical storm, boom, Cat 5. We went back to a tropical storm, then another major hurricane, and then another major hurricane. That was Umberto. First time in 100 years that the first 3 hurricanes all became major hurricanes. Then we had Imelda. If you remember, that did a little Fujiwara, that did that little dance with Umberto. Then we had Jerry, Karen, and Lorenzo. And then, unfortunately, we ended the season with the most impactful storm of the season. That was, of course, Hurricane Melissa, Category 5, one of the strongest to make landfall ever in the Atlantic Basin on the western side of Jamaica. So we did not forecast numbers at News 6, but we took a stab at using all of the science and meteorology and some teleconnections that we had available to us to put together where we thought that there would be the highest opportunity for landfall impacts or impacts in general. So we call this landfall hotspots. We made this back in May, and there are a couple of things that went well with the forecast, unfortunately, and then certainly things, unfortunately, that didn't go well with the forecast. We always liked when we do these long-range forecasts, at least I like to do these postmortems in grade here. What unfortunately did work out was this area in here. We thought that the main storm track would be this. It was just a question of how close to Florida did it get. That's why we had orange on the east coast of Florida, because we thought we would get storms close, not necessarily make landfall. And then how close to the Outer Banks, we had them in red. Chantal made that. So the forecast wins, so to speak. Again, we are not rooting for that, but the forecast worked out in the Carolinas for the landfall hotspots. And then in Jamaica, eastern Cuba, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, Bermuda, and then the Northeast Caribbean. Um, where it didn't work out so well, thankfully, was the East Gulf. Thought that we would get one out of the Gyre in October. The Gyre really never spun up, and that spared, thankfully, the Gulf Coast of Florida that literally needed it to be spared. So a lot of stuff, a lot of good. I mean, again, with the exception of Melissa, this was a very nice hurricane season. And again, I mean, that's big with the exception because it was one of the strongest hurricanes on record. So here is the final map. It may take a second to load because there is a ton of data with this. And I want to just show you everything plotted because it has all of the nuances. It's coming, it'll load in just 1 second. But nonetheless, there you see it. A lot of the recurves. And again, the most impactful storm, unfortunately, was the last one of the season, the Category 5, sticking out like a sore thumb on the western side of Jamaica. But the theme of the year was the recurve as it goes forward and all of that. With that said, with the below normal season in terms of number of storms, again, an average season is 14. We had 13, so just barely under the threshold. The first time, I believe, since 2015, that was the last time the United States did not see a hurricane landfall either. So the first time in 10 years that we've had a below normal season. In terms of intensity, though, it was an above average season. We're using ACE as the metric here. And what ACE is calculating is the amount of energy. So it's called accumulated cyclone energy. Once a storm becomes a tropical storm, it starts to generate ACE. And the longer it's out there and the stronger it is, the more ACE it generates per storm. Then it gets added into the pot for the entire season. 132.6 is where we ended. The average is 122.5. So above that average mark. And again, that was no doubt helped along by those 3 Category 5 hurricanes that were out there. Again, 2 of them in the middle of nowhere. Unfortunately, the last one making landfall at peak intensity. Alrighty, guys, have to get my first break in of the night. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the cold front. We'll take a look at where that snow is coming in as well. That's going to be moving through the northern tier of the country coming up in just 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, we just did an in-depth breakdown of the preseason forecast versus actually what happened during the 2025 hurricane season. And it wasn't really, I think, remarkably different than what forecast had. I think they were on the lower side for sure in terms of the numbers, but all in all, I think it turned out to be pretty accurate in terms of that. We're going to get back into our weather now as we are tracking a couple of systems we were showing you before, and I still have the live look up. Right below me there is Greencastle, Indiana. That's on the southwest side of the state. All the blue there is the snow sliding from now St. Louis to Chicago back towards Cleveland. This is going to be heading into the northern, really 2/3 of Pennsylvania there. Some heavy snow possible from Pittsburgh back just to the north of Philadelphia. So fun stuff there. They're getting their second snowstorm in as many days in Chicago after just having a record-breaking one. Not as much, but they are getting some snow indeed. Okay, so here is our system now. We have a warm front draped across the northern tier of Florida. Some rain along that area of low pressure. That is going to make its way in to central Florida during the day tomorrow. So finally some rain chances. It's not going to be a ton. It's not going to bust us from the drought that we've gotten ourselves into. But therein lies the front that's working its way down the pipeline. Now for tomorrow, depending upon where you're at, air temperatures are going to be vastly different. For most of the Florida Peninsula, we're talking low to mid 80s. The exception to that is going to be Pensacola in the Western Panhandle, only in the low 60s. So there's not a ton of cold air with this. The further north that you are, that's who's going to get that rain the most. The highest opportunity for rain should be in North Florida, where it is needed the most, where we do have an exceptional drought going on, the highest level that you can get to, and that's mainly right along the Georgia-Florida line there, including Tallahassee. So they need some rain bad. The entire western side of the state could use a drink. Unfortunately, I don't think that there is a ton of rain coming. There's going to be a little bit of rain, but there you see it. I think it's going to be scattered downpours at best. Melissa, you might see some rain tomorrow. I'm not that optimistic that you do see much, but certainly it's a 40% shot to see rain. I can't tell you I guarantee that you're going to see it at your place, but there's certainly an opportunity early tomorrow afternoon for a little bit of rain to come through, maybe even a rumble of thunder as that front slides its way through Central Florida tomorrow. I'm looking for my high resolution future radar to pull up. I have it loaded in here somewhere in the show so I can show you exactly, or to the best. Let me just search for that in my show. There it is. So I'm going to change the data. I'm going to load the latest data in here. So this is hot off the press. So we're looking at this together for the first time. This is the brand new data that is just coming in to the weather computer here. And this is what we're talking about. There is the little push, and then there's the little bit of rain. There's lunchtime tomorrow. Very scattered. It's not going to be a ton, but certainly we will take what we can get on that front, to say the least. So it's been a while since we've seen the rain, and it is going to be working its way again back down the pipeline. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. What we're tracking tonight is a line of downpours, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms tomorrow across central Florida. It's been a while since that's even been in the forecast. Widespread storm system. You see some of the icing making its way, the pink color there, in western Tennessee. In eastern Arkansas, we have the light blue representing the snow on the northern tier of this system. For us, we are going to see rain, of course. It is way too warm and not even close to supporting any kind of snow. But this cold front going to change things up a little bit again, giving us our first real good shot of rain over the last, few weeks now. With most of the state, at least the western half of the state, closing in on drought status. If you're just joining us tonight, at the top of the show, hurricane season is officially over. So we broke that down in big detail going forward tonight. I want to show you the airport delays. That's what's going on. I know that today is considered the last day of holiday travel from um, for Thanksgiving, and there is a ground stop in I almost said Orlando, ORD. That's Chicago's O'Hare. But there you see it there, the snow, the heavy snow coming down in Chicago. They've been getting nailed so far this winter. I've already seen a record November of snowfall, and December is starting off on a snowy note. We'll see if that continues across the north as we head into Christmas. But some wild weather again coming through that could give us our first and only shot. First shot anyway, of rain that we've seen in quite some time. Thanks, no call sign. Yeah, it was unfortunate because I'll bring up the map again, and ending on a sad note for sure. We almost got out of it completely with a low impact season, but unfortunately it ended there on a high note on Western Jamaica. That was the official path for um, Hurricane Melissa. Then we had Imelda get close, and then just all the purple there. Those were the Category 5 storms, and there were three of them. Okay, the first time that has happened uh, since 2005, only the second time ever that happened. So unfortunately, just a very wild hurricane season. I called it unusual. If you got the newsletter delivered to your inbox, the final newsletter of the 2025 hurricane season, just ending. Unusual is the best way to do it because it took forever to get going. I mean, thankfully, but the issue is, when that happens, you normally get a lot of that warmth and energy built up going forward. So just kind of just a really unfortunate end to the year for sure. Just want to end on this note. I talked a lot leading up to this when we had some of the December hurricane hype. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, a lot of the YouTubers out there were posting model runs that a major hurricane was coming to Florida the first week of December. Not exactly. Not exactly. That was never going to happen. So I just want to say that the garbage that's out there on social media when it comes to weather content is just getting out of control. And I just wanted to simply thank everybody that followed. I'm not going anywhere, by the way. We're going to be here. We're going to be talking about Central Florida weather. We're going to open up and expand kind of the flavor of the live show every single night with different kind of things and different kind of topics as we go forward. Monday is going to take over as being the long range segment, and we're going to have some other, I think, cool features on the show going forward to replace the second half of the show being all about the tropics, because it is earned that, because it's such a wild season, and I like to give that in-depth kind of stuff and like to have the conversation with you guys. Florida made out great. First time in 10 years, no direct impacts from a tropical system, whether that be a tropical storm or hurricane. But just wanted to say thank you again. I know you have a lot of places to get weather information, and there's a lot of noise out there, and I do my best to try to silence the noise. And we at New 6 do our best at forecasting these things so that you get the best information out there so you can tell your family and friends. And thank you guys for following me. Thank you for sticking with News 6 throughout the entirety of the hurricane season. Of course, we're going to be here for you in the off season, retool, regroup, and all of that stuff, and get ready to hit it hard, hopefully for a quiet season on June 1st. Again, as we prepare for that and come out with new tools and new ways to track things and new ways to have the interaction that we have. I tweeted at him the other day because he did something egregious, uh, and he didn't tweet me back, and I was upset about that. But yeah, he's one of the big offenders, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Alrighty, guys. That puts an end to the 2025 hurricane season officially with that recap, never to be heard from again. Hopefully, we don't rival its intensity anytime soon. But unfortunately, that's the world that we are living in, and with the warmer waters, that's likely going to happen probably next year. But we're gonna cross that bridge when we get to it in a very, very long time. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has a great Monday night. We'll see you back here at 9:30, New 6 Plus, and on the New 6 YouTube page. Have a great night, guys.